And we're joined again this week with Ron Sari from the Waupaca Area School District and Aaron Jensen from the City of Waupaca. Welcome.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And we're back together for our weekly chat about everything going on, whether it's COVID or whether it's other things in the community. And obviously the COVID situation and a lot of what that's causing is a big part of the conversation. And Aaron, we'll start with you. Week by week, the city's evaluating what's going on based on the guidelines out there, advice out there, and there are some changes with operations and some things the city is doing as the city learns more as new orders are issued. Do you want to let us know what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just last week, there was an order that came out, and it seems like now we're starting to see a little more frequent orders with slight changes, maybe once or twice a week. And one of those was library curbside pickup. So our library here, the Waupaca Area Library, has started doing that. Peg Burrington, our director, and her team have been in a lot of communication with the OWLS network, which is the Outagamie Waupaca library system, to make sure that kind of everyone's on the same page. One thing we didn't want to do, Josh, is we didn't want to open up if no one else was opening up, because what that could have created is a bunch of people coming from Outagamie County and getting our stuff, and we didn't want that type of action happening. But they were all on the same page and everyone's opening up in a very similar manner. Our staff is doing everything they can to take the precautions to protect themselves as staff and our residents, including quarantining books and all of that, always wearing masks. So that's a new thing that's happening in the city of Waupaca as far as operations goes over the last week.
And I know there's a lot of people in the community happy to be able to get those library materials again.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard so many people that have started to pick up reading again during this time. They said, Aaron, hey, I'm reading this book. It's great. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know you've typically got into reading. They're like, no, I haven't, but I'm so glad that this quarantine has pushed me to, because I'm gaining a lot of knowledge. So that's a good thing. That's a positive thing about the situation. The only other thing, Josh, I want to just dive into as far as an operations standpoint is, and it's going to be more of a segue for you to explain, but the Waupaca Online and the installations. Obviously, we put a hold on installations for a while, and I know you've gotten, over the last 5 weeks, kind of a stack that was piling up, people needing internet service, and I know you've revisited that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so when the first Safer at Home order came out, we voluntarily decided not to go do new installations. And that was a safety measure both for the staff and potential customers, because we didn't know much about the situation and what was going to happen locally. And now that we're about 6 weeks into it, we've had a chance to see what's going on. Obviously, internet telecommunications has been considered an essential service, and those can operate reasonably normally. So there's nothing in order preventing that operation. But after getting a feel for what's going on here in our service area and talking with our staff, there's a pretty good comfort level that our staff's willing to go out and do the work. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but we've got a long 3-page document worked up how we do the work, what the precautions are, and in no way, shape, or form are we going to put our staff in any increased risk for the COVID-19 situation than what we all face day to day, maybe going to the gas station or the grocery store. So as long as we can maintain that safety measure, we will be doing more work, installing new customers, and myself and our network engineer are going to gauge weekly what's going on. Is there a sudden spike of cases or something else that we need to be worried about? Is someone on the staff may be concerned? So if week by week we'll be gauging, are we good as is? Should we pull back a little bit? Should we maybe be a little more aggressive? So it's a fluid situation, but the staff feels very comfortable about the plan and where we're at as of right now.
Yeah, that's good. And I got a chance to read your plan a couple days ago and the implementation, and it's all very well thought out, and makes a ton of sense and can get people service that haven't been able to get it for the last month while protecting you guys and themselves. So I think that's awesome.
And the other thing, just this whole situation where we're all working from home, doing school from home, we've been learning more information about pockets of areas in the county that people can't get internet. So we're not going to be able to fix that today, but that's leading probably to some conversations, maybe with some other communities or other community leaders, to kind of find out where these spots are and if that's something we can be of assistance with. So, it's becoming apparent where there is good internet and where there's not, because we're all forced to more heavily depend on it right now than we were, 2 months ago.
Yeah, your workload is getting bigger as you
Something
recognize
like
that.
And then, Aaron, I know you want to talk about kind of what the city's doing for businesses. You're kind of being a resource or kind of offering some information. Why don't you let our businesses know about that?
Well, yeah. So, our conversations, Josh, over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, we've been in this period a little longer than we're thinking here. I think 6 or 7 weeks since at least our declaration of an emergency. And we've been meeting with our community partners and health partners either 3 times or 2 times a week, and public health and emergency management throughout that time period. And now, over the last week or two, we've been hearing from business owners and having those conversations a little more frequently. And we understand, I just sent out a letter to our business owners actually Monday morning. So they should be receiving it soon if they haven't yet. But I guess I just wanted to say that we're here as a resource. We are here to take calls and talk through conversations, concerns, whatever those may be. When we're not the appropriate resource, we want to point them into the direction of that level of expertise. And we understand how important small businesses are to our local economy, not only us, but all communities our size. And we understand that this is a really tough time for them, and there's an uncertainty as far as what's the rest of May and what's the rest of June going to look like. And I just want them to know that we are trying to uncover and overturn every stone and rock to see what tools we have in our tool bag at the city, to where we may be able to help in ways. Every municipality has tools that are a little different. We want to make sure that we have conversations around tools that could help, but not put our residents and businesses at risk or in a bad position 3 years down the road, right? Because that doesn't help any of us either. So long story short, we are here for them. We may not have all the answers and likely don't, but we welcome any conversations, and we look forward to talking to them.
So that's kind of what's going on at the city. And Ron, I know there's one big topic probably the school community is wondering about. And to lead into that, everyone right now is in the same boat. Everyone, in some way, shape, or form, people are facing maybe challenges with income or jobs or visiting family or other changes in their life because of this. And some people, maybe those are more drastic. For some people right now, it might be more minor, but everyone's, we're all facing this together. And as you wrap up the school year, there's a lot of things going on that maybe are viewed as unfair, but it's, something we're all facing together. That might be sports seasons ending early. That might be prom not taking place. That might be looking at 8th grade promotion and graduations. Do you want to speak a little bit about kind of wrapping up the school year and what's going on?
For sure, Josh. Thanks. Boy, Josh, I just want to be very empathetic to everybody in our community and what they're going through. This is such an unexpected shock, and the stress that everybody is under from this. I mean, the biggest is this remote learning that's going on, and students and parents and our teachers. Well, they're doing a remarkable job, but still it's stressful, and we know that, and we are very sorry about this difficulty that it's created, along with all these other changes that you've talked about, the prom not happening, and people invested money into clothing for the prom. I know the high school administration is going to work through that, and 8th grade graduation and our graduation and summer school and the sports seasons. But then you look into the personal lives of our friends. Weddings are being postponed. Funerals. You lose a loved one and only 9 people can be in attendance at the funeral. And you think about how that impacts a friend of mine. His father is dying of cancer, and he was taking his father who has some dementia to the cancer treatments so that he could help them through with the questions or the feedback that they may receive, and can't do that. So, it's impacting everybody in one way or another, in some cases more significantly than others. And we're very empathetic about how that all goes down. This pandemic has caused a lot of stress for a lot of people. And as a leader, and being new to the community, people don't really know me very well or know how my leadership skills and how I will go about, or how we address these challenges to end the school year. Some that know me a little bit better, that on my admin team for sure, and possibly parts of our school board too, know that we want to do things in a collaborative nature, and we want to give as much opportunity for people to have a voice into the whole process, in the decision that'll get made. So we do a lot of listening, and some of it isn't visible, and it's behind the scenes. I mean, a lot of this right now is all behind the scenes things because we can't meet in person, but the collaboration that goes on with the city officials, with Aaron and law enforcement, our county officials, our healthcare officials, getting input. Okay, how do we wrap up the year safely with graduation? And how do we do that? And what are the things we can and can't do? And what is everybody's input into that? I know our high school administration has done a survey to our senior parents and has met 2 or 3 times with the leaders of our senior class, some of the leaders of our senior class, to get input and to take that input back to the administrative teams to talk about how can we best address this topic and to make the best decision with the limited information that we have. Even though we have a timeline, decisions have to get made, knowing that we may not have all the information. We don't have a crystal ball into what it's going to look like down the road, but to do what's best for the students, our district, and our community. And it's tough to make those tough decisions, knowing that you're not going to make 100% of the people happy. There's always people that are going to be upset with something. And whether it's sharing too much information, being as transparent as I can be, I get people that say, you're sharing too much information and you're scaring us, and people that say we need more information. We don't have crystal balls, but we do have professional networks that are telling us different things, telling us to prepare for certain things. And we want to be as transparent as we can to let our community members and our stakeholders know what we're hearing at the time that we're hearing it. So
I'm very happy to hear about how you're approaching this. That's not just you or the administration or the school board throwing a decision out there, but you're talking to the people it affects, the students, the parents, other stakeholders in the community to find out what's going on. And then you're also getting the information that's maybe coming down from above that you have no control over. And you kind of talk about being new to the community. This is your first school year here, brand new to the area, and look at part of what you've been tossed into. And talking to you both during the interview and before and after, I've been learning more, and it sounds like you're doing, taking a very nice approach with this, regardless what people's opinions are.
Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. We're working hard to do the best that we can with what we have, and we know we're not going to make everybody happy. But those who worked through in this past fall in September when we had the threat, and I believe most, if not everybody in our community is aware of that, we follow the same formula: getting a committee together, listening to stakeholders, sharing information, collaborating, and it really made our team better. It's produced better results in our school, and it's continuing. Those safety team meetings internally are still happening, and we would be having the community safety committees coming and meeting again here in May if we weren't under this Safer at Home. The plan is that will not go away, and it will continue because it's just going to make us a better organization to share information and to get feedback on how we're doing internally. So that's what we're doing through this pandemic, and how we're going to wrap up the school year, how we're going to move forward with the decisions that aren't yet finalized into how graduation, we're going to navigate that, because it's emotional. And we have people from one extreme that want us to have a traditional type of graduation to people who don't want us to have anything. And hopefully this week or next week, we're going to be able to come up with a formulation, put some finality to it on what we can and can't do. And the input of our health officials and our community officials has been paramount. You know, one of the things that came out, and Aaron, I think, can attest to it because I think he was in on some of those meetings, was the fact that if we did a drive-in, because a drive-in, I was really excited to do a drive-in. I wanted to do some sort of a drive-in graduation ceremony. We thought, man, that would be neat, and we thought it would be safe. And we found out, I think it was the commandant or somebody from King's Veterans Home said, if any of our employees attend that, they will not be able to come back to work. They'd have to quarantine themselves for 14 days. And we weren't aware of that, but that really opened my eyes to how these decisions that we make here for our school district have a big impact on our community.
Yeah, you know, I think if I can just kind of cut in a little bit, Ron, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I think the way Josh explained it is true. I think it's so important that these decisions, such as graduation, you know, it's something that doesn't just impact the school district, it impacts the entire community. And whether it's the health system, whether it's us, our residents in the city, or in Farmington, or in Dayton, or whatever it might be. And I think, you know, I can appreciate when we have 2 meetings a week, the school with those partners, the school district is always represented on those. In the last couple of weeks, we've had a little more representation as we talk through the specific issue of graduation, and just try to make the best decision with all of the information that we have at our disposal. And you know, I think everyone on those calls have come to the same conclusion, at least to this point. And yeah, I think it's just good. I mean, to involve everybody when we're talking about this kind of stuff is good, and I can appreciate that from the school district. So
thanks, Aaron. I appreciate that feedback.
You're absolutely not going to make everyone happy. I know you made that statement earlier, but you know, going off both of you are saying, I hope the community realizes the community's inputs being taken on how to handle graduation. Some of these things, it's not just one person. There's so much out there that influences this. So I think to have the input that different people in the community are in the approach, you're trying to marry all that together somehow and do the best you can.
We're working hard behind the scenes to do the best we can with the information we have, and we're just going to continue plugging away at that and staying positive. We know we're going to get this the best we can, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, we're under a worldwide pandemic, you know.
Well, I'm looking forward in the next week or two to hear about what the solution is to graduation, and hopefully people respect that it's well thought out and safe, and hopefully it's a unique idea that honors our graduates the best we're able to during this time.
I totally agree and believe that we're going to do the best to meet our students' needs and expectations, and our parents as well in the communities. And the other piece is, next week is kind of a special week for us because it's Teacher Appreciation Week. And we're so proud of our teachers, not only our teachers, our students. They're really, overall, I mean, there's challenges. I don't think remote learning and learning at home virtually is the best thing in the world for everybody. But some people, they're excelling at it. And it's difficult. I know it's a challenge for our parents as well. I know it's a challenge for myself and my wife with our 3 boys, but we're very proud of our children's teachers, the work that they're putting in, and proud of the parents across the district and the work they're putting in, and of course the students. So a big shout out to our staff, especially our teachers, on all the work that they're doing. We're very proud of them. Josh.
Everyone's had to adjust how they're working, and certainly teachers are definitely in that same boat. And just whether it's Waupaca schools or in general, it's amazing how quick schools are able to kind of flip like a light switch and adjust to everyone doing school from home. It's kind of been unique to see that. Yeah,
it's a credit to them, their work ethic, their focus, their commitment and dedication to the students. There's a lot to be proud of in Waupaca, and that's another one of the several things to be proud of.
So let's kind of jump away from COVID-19. That's been the focus of our interview so far, and it's definitely going to be an important topic. But the other thing that's nice to do is to look at the future, look what's coming down the road, because right now we're in a kind of a weird state right now, but good things will come long term. And Aaron, you've been finding out from the city perspective, there's been a lot of interest in developing more housing in the Waupaca area, and there may be some programs out there that may assist that, that we're kind of in a good spot for. Do you want to tell us what we're maybe looking forward to?
Yeah. So, one thing over the last couple of weeks that we've seen, we've gotten inquiries about whether it's city lots that are for sale in certain neighborhoods in the city. We've just seen an uptick in the interest in those lots. And that has been something that surprised me a little bit over the last 2 weeks, especially the situation we're in. But it's a positive thing, because housing is something we've talked about a lot over the past 8 months, and the importance of that and developing more housing in our community and within the city. So that has been good. Another thing that's really good, now I'll say an interest is one thing, and getting homes built is another, right? So, there's an old adage, don't celebrate till the money's in the bank, however you want to take that. But it's good that we're seeing interest, but we've got to get the homes built. Another great thing is that WEDA came out with its criteria, and WEDA is Wisconsin Economic and Housing Development Authority. And they came out with their criteria for their tax credit program recently. And basically, they're giving a lot of points to their tax credit program for developers that want to develop in a city of under 10,000 people, or a community of under 10,000 people with a large employer. Well, we fit that pretty well. So we've had some developers contact us about that, and just interested in looking for areas to submit proposals and so on and so forth. Again, it's it hasn't been built yet, but these are very promising things. As like I said, this has been a topic of conversation. Housing is a priority for us, workforce housing specifically. So that's good, and hopefully within a year and a half we see some results from it.
Wow, Aaron, that is absolutely terrific. Josh, I don't know if people realize that when I came on board and Aaron came on board, we kind of got together and we created what we called Waupaca Growth Team. And Aaron was the spearhead behind it, and organized the school district, the city, and then our business community to get together and strategize. How do we address the fact that we need more housing? The businesses need employees. The city needs more housing to improve the tax base, and the school district needs more students to help with our revenue stream as well. So, Aaron, that news is terrific news. That's great news. That's wow.
Yeah, it is. It is really exciting, and sometimes sometimes you have to get a little lucky too. And we are fortunate that WEDA's tax credit requirements outline those two things that I mentioned, and now it's just about working with those people and taking advantage of it, and then seeing if we can get a good project or two out of it. So yeah, it's exciting.
And it's really cool that there's companies out there, housing companies, that are willing to consider coming in and doing something, considering our whole economic climate right now. It's pretty cool they're talking to Waupaca and they're thinking about here.
Yeah, it is good. And I think, they're taking that longer term approach and looking at it from, people are still going to need places to live. And we still, have a shortage of workforce housing in our community and other communities like this. And it's great that WEDA recognized that, and that they've kind of structured their program around that for at least the next year. So that's good.
Aaron, you kind of credit it to luck, but I want to push you back on that and say, you have Vince Lombardi in your background. And one of my favorite quotes of Vince Lombardi is, "The harder I work, the luckier I get." And in my lifetime, I don't believe in luck. I believe everything happens for a reason. And it's through the hard work of you and your people and this growth team that you put together things are coming into fruition the way they're supposed to. So kudos to you. Good job.
Wow, I appreciate that, Ron. And that's a team effort. And I look forward to working with you and the rest of that group to push some of the things forward. And because we can have all the plans in the world, as you know, but execution's the key, right?
let's keep plugging away. Let's make this come to fruition in the end with the actual housing and the families moving in and getting more kids in our buildings.
That's right. Agreed.
Well, Ron, Aaron, appreciate the time again this week to kind of update the community where we're at. I know I always learn something out of these interviews that we put on Facebook and radio, and it's good to share this information with the community. There's some things moving forward at the city, the school, and the community are working hard on how to recognize and honor our graduates, and like I said, I look forward to hearing more about that. And there's some cool things coming in the city's future outside of this whole situation. So thanks again for getting us all up to date.
Thanks for the
Thank you,
opportunity, Josh.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Josh. As always, we'll see you next week.
Take care.